in the fading light of an endless horizon, where the sun kisses the shimmering waves of a dilapidated paradise, echoes of ancient whispers swirl in the salty breeze. This is no ordinary seascape. It is a realm teetering between myth and reality, where dreams and fears converge beneath the undulating tides. Welcome to the haunting legend of Atlantis, a civilization that has captured the imagination of scholars and dreamers for centuries, promising not just a lost city, but an insight into the darkest depths of human ambition. Picture a place where grand palaces blink through crystalline waters, gleaming in gold and marble, adorned with all the treasures of the earth. The streets paved with artistry throb with life, echoing laughter and commerce, where fragrant spices tantalize the senses, promising new horizons. Yet under this veneer of splendor lies a deeper truth, a truth that may unveil what we have buried beneath centuries of idealization and myth-making. As the evening sky transforms into an indigo canvas, one cannot help but ponder, what if Atlantis was more than just fiction? What if it reflects the elusive darkness woven into the very fabric of civilization itself? Perhaps in its rise and catastrophic fall, Atlantis serves as a mirror, reflecting not only human ingenuity but also our propensity for hubris, greed, and self-destruction. The tale of Atlantis begins with the voice of Plato, a philosopher who painted a world unlike any other, a utopia of harmony and civilization over 2,300 years ago. Yet his words, drenched in allegorical intent, stir unending debates. Was it mere philosophy, a warning against tyranny, or could there be a grain of historical truth hidden within those philosophical musings? With every retelling, Atlantis becomes a crucible of emotion, a space where hope and despair collide, urging scholars and adventurers alike to seek its ghostly remnants beneath the waves. Throughout the ages, the allure of Atlantis has seeped into the cultural consciousness, rendering it a subject of fascination across civilizations, from the ancient Greeks who contemplated Plato's words to 19th-century romantics entranced by tales of lost civilizations. Amid the shadows of ages, each era's quest for this fabled utopia has often revealed more about our own vulnerabilities than the civilization itself. The feverish pursuit of Atlantis invites a critical gaze upon our obsession with establishments of power and destructive ambition. As explorers trek through jungles or dive into the oceanic abyss, is it merely the city they seek, or the truths of their own societies? What motivations propel these seekers of legacy into the depths of history? To truly immerse ourselves in the enigma of Atlantis, we must traverse beyond the ethereal mirage painted by ancient scrolls. As we delve into its depths, consider the earth that cradled such a society, reflect upon the volcanic ash of Thera that sculpted history's canvas. The Minoan civilization, with its vibrant frescoes and unparalleled craftsmanship, rises from the depths of time, starkly juxtaposed against the backdrop of natural disasters that shaped their fate. In their vibrant culture and expansive trade networks, a glimpse of Atlantis resonates, urging us to ponder what defines greatness and at what cost. As we wander through the crumbled remains of ancient societies, the specter of loss looms large. Islands of dreams become submerged through the capricious whims of nature. A moment too fragile, a civilization too proud. Are we not witnessing the very cycle of ambition that perpetuates across epochs? The dust settles not only on physical structures, but also upon ideals of superiority and dominance, suspended in time like the sunken ruins beneath the waves. In this slow unraveling of myth, one can sense the artifice of hubris weaving its thread through the storytelling canvas. As much as Atlantis conjures images of paradise unblemished, a careful examination of its legacy invites us to reflect upon the harsh truths of societal structure inherent in contemporary governance. The pursuit of power often masks a fragile foundation, built upon dreams of unyielding dominance. What might the ruins of Atlantis reveal about the ruins we erect within our own societies? Amidst the sands of time lies an unsettling truth that whispers the fragility of ambition and the inevitability of decline. What dreams are we willing to sacrifice in the relentless pursuit of progress? As we cast our gaze toward the glistening horizon, we must question, are we not drawn to the allure of Atlantis because it beckons us to confront our own shadows, those hidden depths of the human spirit fraught with both promise and peril? The mythic narrative of Atlantis, an eternal testament to human aspiration, shrouds our reality in enigma. As tales unfold of its celestial beauty, flowing canals, sweeping gardens, and majestic temples, these vivid images pulsate with an underlying tension that is palpably human. Each time the myth is invoked, we dive into a paradox, a civilization celebrated for its glory yet forever trapped in the annals of collapse. What ultimately defines that collapse? Is it the blind ambition that once soared high above the clouds, unburdened by the shadows lurking within? Or perhaps it is the human condition itself, a perpetual dance of creation and destruction, illuminated by the flicker of dreams. As twilight settles, casting an ethereal glow on counterpoints of light and shadow, the questions left unanswered, The questions that linger in the ocean air draw us deeper into the unfolding mystery of existence. What lies beneath the surface of our collective consciousness? How often do we find ourselves on the precipice of Atlantis, caught between ambition and moral reckoning? And as the ocean breathes, so do these questions, enveloping the spirit of exploration and urging us forward. The tides of history may have submerged Atlantis beneath layers of myth, yet to dive deeper is to not only seek the lost city of dreams, but to confront the very essence of our humanity. In this atmospheric realm entwined with history, philosophy, and ambition, the true exploration begins, not merely of what was, but what may again come to be, echoing the tales of the past as we navigate the dark truths of our present. With every unearthed relic and questioned myth, let us venture forth. The narrative is not yet complete. The truths of Atlantis beckon with anticipation, murmuring beneath the waves, waiting to be discovered anew. As we plunge further into the depths of this captivating enigma, we find ourselves standing on the precipice of a rich, interwoven tapestry of history, where sand and sea conspire to shield the memories of those who once thrived in what is now only whispers among the waves. Envision the sprawling landscapes of a long-lost world, where verdant hillsides cradle civilization's ambitions, and the sunlight dances upon the glistening blue of the Aegean, inviting explorers into its embrace. Here the stage is set for what would become one of history's most profound and cautionary tales, the blueprint of a society that flourished only to become a haunting memory submerged beneath the tides of time. Indeed, the allure of Atlantis can be traced back to geographical nodes that nurtured the cradle of civilization. As we navigate this ancient cartography, consider the location of Crete, where the Minoan civilization thrived with a complexity that belied mere survival. It was a society of abundance, thriving amidst trade routes that spanned the Mediterranean, linking cultures and religions, a melting pot of ideas and aspirations. The breathtaking palaces at Knossos, with their striking frescoes depicting vibrant ceremonies, unveil a glimpse into a world that cherished art and architecture as a reflection of their ethos. However, this seemingly utopian existence was also buoyed by the undercurrents of competition and foreign threats that shaped their sense of purpose. As the vibrant hues of late afternoon paint the sky, one cannot overlook the destructive power of nature's fury. A voluminous eruption from the island of Thera, now known as Santorini, left an indelible mark. This catastrophic event, a calamitous mixture of ash and lava, cascaded across the region, disrupting trade networks and sowing discord among burgeoning societies. Imagine the panic and despair enveloping those who witnessed the pillars of their civilization crumble amid smoldering ruins. The narrative of Atlantis may intertwine with echoes of Minoan ruin, suggesting that within the splendor of power lay incubating seeds of vulnerability. Are we not reminded, then, that greatness often dances on the edge of disaster? Thus, within this volatile confluence of nature and human ambition, a duality emerges, a reflection of our capacity for creativity and self-destruction. The grandiose aspirations of a people, woven from the fabric of their landscapes, brush against the stark realities of the world beyond. Political systems began to take shape, organized under the auspices of influential leaders who held dominion, steering their societies through winds of change. Yet like their predecessors, they were not immune to the footfall of a fickle fate. It was here in the crucible of power that conflicts thrust them toward both brilliance and chaos. How fragile their destinies seemed amidst the roaring uncertainties of the elements and the ambitions of rival states. Moving deeper into the pulse of Atlantis, we uncover the cultural landscape that marked the daily lives of its people. Consider the intricate belief systems that threaded through their existence. Deities of the sea, the earth, and the heavens wove together a spiritual fabric that bound communities, offering solace as well as command. Imagining the communal rituals performed along the magnificent coastlines, we envision solemn gatherings, aglow with the flicker of torches and perfumed incense rising toward the heavens, evoking a connection to the divine. In these moments, amidst chants and offerings, a collective heartbeat emerges, a recognition of the interconnectedness that surged through society, one that reinforced the necessity of solidarity amid the threat of annihilation. Even as we breathe life into the societal structure, the hierarchies of power that emerge, the divisions of wealth that create both aspiration and tension, a poignant realization unfolds. The divide between the opulent elite, ensconced in marble palaces, and the laborers who toiled under searing suns, illuminates a dangerous dichotomy, hinting at the fragility of grand ambitions. The dreams of a city bathed in prosperity became increasingly overshadowed by the fears that such affluence could foster resentment and unrest. And as the landscape teemed with activity, shadows began to emerge, foreshadowing the imminent moral decay that whispers so hauntingly through the annals of time. Yet ambition unchecked is a double-edged sword. As we delve into the weaving of this complex narrative, one cannot ignore the stirring tensions that simmered beneath the surface of societal grandeur. The outward facades of strength began to crack, unveiling aspirations shadowed by envy, greed, and the thirst for domination. The very structures that formed a civilization's backbone, trade agreements, alliances, and military prowess, were all seemingly established to safeguard against imminent outside threats, yet served to fortify the cycle of ambition that would ultimately lead to profound discord. Envision now a turning point, a seismic shift, as the tides of fortune began to wane. In those critical, secretive meetings, with the whispers of power echoing through the cold stone halls, alliances birthed plans for conflict, born out of fear and the relentless drive to assert dominance over perceived enemies. Those rich trade routes that once boasted prosperity now became battlegrounds for ambition. Each conflict, rooted in the desperate desire to preserve a civilization, blurred the lines where ambition transformed into avarice. In this maelstrom of shifting loyalties and the relentless pursuit of more, we glimpse a poignant truth, that with every triumph there lies the potential for downfall. As dusk descends upon the once vibrant society, with the final rays of sunlight casting long shadows across the land, we cannot help but feel a grief for the lost possibilities, to imagine the hope and dreams of ordinary denizens woven into the very fabric of their glorious civilization, now trembling on the brink of disaster. With every revelation of ambition's darker side, it becomes apparent that the confluence of human frailty and power has created an invisible tether, linking the past to the unfolding narrative of our time. The wake of arrogance and hubris rings with a lethargic toll, like the echo of a distant bell carried on the evening wind. The tragic irony of ambition that paved highways to glory can also destroy the very structures that it creates. The quest for supremacy, once draped in heroic tales of valor, soon spirals into a tragic chronicle, as conflicts rage and moral lines blur, a cycle perpetuated within the human experience that forms each epoch of history. Thus, as we trace the tangled roots of power and ambition spiraling through time, let us reflect, what truths have we gleaned from the tale of Atlantis? As we wander the shores of its mythos, we are compelled to confront our circumstances and aspirations, recognizing echoes of the past unfolding within our contemporary lives. Each story reborn raises questions. Have we too built empires upon the precipice of ambition, forsaking integrity in the relentless pursuit of progress? In this quiet and contemplative space, as we meander through the ruins of Atlantis and the lives it cradled, we recognize that those who came before us, with their dreams and desires, remain tethered to us in their struggle for meaning. It is the burden of knowledge that draws us to these distant shores. It is the longing to understand the very heart of humanity that beckons us forth as we dive deeper into the historical depths. And thus, the narrative spirals like a seashell, slowly revealing more of itself, inviting us to gaze into the churning waters once more, a reminder of civilization's past and the shadows lurking just beyond the edge of sight. The journey does not relent, for the truths of Atlantis continue to thrum beneath the waves, resonating within our very essence. Each discovery illuminates a path, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of our existence in the vast, interconnected web of human ambition, legacy, and consequence. The timeless echo of Atlantis still unfurling before us, inviting inquiry, reflection, and exploration anew. As we pull back the veil on the daily life of Atlantis, a vivid tableau begins to emerge, steeped in the wisdom and struggle of its people. Each moment resonates with deeply human experiences, echoing through the ages. Picture the bustling streets of Atlantis, where laughter and commerce intertwine amid the rich scent of spices and freshly baked bread. Sun bathes the vibrant stalls, each vendor vying for attention, calling out to passers-by as they navigate the labyrinthine pathways that are the veins of this extraordinary society. Here, trade isn't merely an exchange of goods. It is the lifeblood that fuels dreams, ambition, and sometimes the simmering animosity that arises from disparity. In the heart of this city, families gather to share stories, each thread woven with laughter, love, and an occasional quibble, embodying the glorious messiness of life. Beneath the elaborate facades of their homes stands a world woven together by shared meals and whispered secrets, the aroma of roasted meats and fragrant herbs filling the air. The kitchen is a sanctuary, a space where chaos reigns momentarily subdued, where mothers weave together familial bonds through rituals of preparation, savoring the flavors of their heritage. Feel the warmth of their laughter as children weave around their legs, a symphony of giggles painting the atmosphere. In this moment, a small family, perhaps preparing for a feast honoring the gods, reminds us that even amidst aspirations of grandeur, it is the simple joys that enrich the human spirit. Yet shimmering beneath this seemingly idyllic surface is a web of societal structures that divide and unite. As we examine their architecture, reminiscent of a grand mosaic, we can see a meticulously curated reflection of social hierarchy. The imposing temples, framed by intricately carved stone, dominate the skyline, serving both as places of worship and symbols of power. Here the elite contemplate their standing, cloaked in the perceptions of authority, while gathered below workers toil, their hands stained with labor and sweat. For every proud palace adorned with gold, there lies a tapestry of lives sacrificed upon the altar of ambition, a whispering reminder of the price paid for such grandeur. Explore the marketplaces where not just resources but also ideas flow like water. This vibrant exchange is a dance of culture and negotiation. Conversations ignite around stalls layered with bright textiles and luxurious silks, along with baskets brimming with olives, fish, and fruits that speak to the richness of their land. Vendors, merchants skilled in the art of persuasion, engage in spirited discussions about current affairs that strip bare the ambitions of their patrons while fostering connections that breathe dynamism into community life. Here knowledge flows freely, yet the shadows of power and jealousy are thick, draping over interactions as ambitions collide like waves against rocks. Let us pause to immerse ourselves deeper into the spiritual life of Atlantis, a realm where the divine and earthly tangle seamlessly, shaping destinies and determining fates. Picture the glistening altars, adorned with offerings of honeyed cakes and fragrant oils, the scents wafting toward the heavens, a prayer suspended in anticipation. Rituals take on a life of their own. The ceremonies conducted under the glare of torches are saturated with devotion and anxiety, a tenuous tap on the shoulder of the unseen, a plea for favor and protection in a world where the capriciousness of the gods mirrors the volatility of life itself. The rituals woven into the very fabric of existence bolster a sense of community, binding the people together through shared beliefs that often exceed the boundaries of individual ambition. Yet the aspirations of the divine often force individuals to reflect on their own desires. In searching for personal glory, one spins the threads of ambition that can enrich the community or perilously lead it astray. In invoking a powerful deity through ritual, the Atlanteans dare to confront their mortality, weighing their fleeting existence against the backdrop of their grand undertakings. Moving through this daily landscape, we find families gathering on festive nights to share stories that transcend generations. Through tales of past heroes and tragic flaws, children learn lessons steeped in morality. The tales morph through each telling, yet unwavering in their essence. The soft light of a flickering flame fuels imagination, weaving dreams of glory and aspirations of wisdom. Yet lurking in the shadows of their fables is a troubling truth. The stories whisper the wisdom of humility, cautioning against the gluttony of ambition that champions conquest over kinship. As we traverse the landscapes of life in Atlantis, we discern a poignant undercurrent that flows like a secret river beneath their vibrant surfaces. Notice the weary eyes of the laborers, the quiet anxiety nestled within their hearts as they watch their cities rise, an ambition built upon their backs. For every grand structure that pierces the heavens, the fabric of wealth becomes increasingly taut, threatening to tear beneath the weight of disparity. Love and loyalty twist and turn under the strain of survival and the quest for prosperity. The gardens, a reflection of the natural world's bounty, a verdant testament to the prosperity of Atlantis, become symbolic spaces of contemplation. Beneath lush canopies of vines, the pulse of nature surges alongside human ambition, reminding us that even the most ingenious constructs must answer to forces beyond their control. Here men and women gather in circles of reflection, their conversations a blend of hope and dread, fueled by a sense of uncertainty over the future they have etched through ambition, a discourse that often becomes an elegy for dreams lost to greed. As the laborers toil in the fields, guided by the whispers of old practices passed down through generations, contemplate the unyielding bond that nature fosters. A cycle of planting, growth, and harvest reflects the rhythms of life, resonating with symbiotic relationships between people and land. The idea of interdependence is foundational. A single act of kindness bolsters collective resilience, encouraging prosperity and security among those who share the earth. Yet as we turn our gaze toward the looming horizon, we sense the fragile balance threatened, the forces of ambition and survival at odds, perpetually poised on the edge of hope and despair. Beneath this rich tapestry of daily life, we cannot dismiss the incessant whispers of ambition, intertwining seamlessly with the myriad complexities of existence. The civilian rhythms speak to a collective yearning for more, the secrets of industry, travel, and discovery, an ever-present desire to expand horizons, both literally and metaphorically. The winds of change gust softly through the bustling streets, hinting at the inevitable transformation that ambition can herald when left unchecked. With every heartbeat pulsating through the lives of the Atlanteans, we are gently reminded that while dreams chart the course toward greatness, the human spirit has a propensity to swallow whole the very foundations it seeks to elevate. As the dusk of destiny begins to hover over the vast expanse of the city, draped in veils of uncertainty, the emotional landscape evolves into an intricate dance of hope interwoven with fear. Each life, each heartbeat echoes not only the shared ambition of a city but the collective psyche that binds them, a shared consciousness tethered as it strives to transcend. As we search through these memories which spill over with the vibrancy of life itself, we discover an Atlantis that feels achingly familiar, both a reflection of the dreams and aspirations that lay vibrant within us, and a shadow offering a cautionary tale. This lost civilization beckons softly, a testament to human ambition, love, and the inexorable struggle against the tides of fate. Here is a world alive with the echo of laughter intertwined with longing, forever etched into the annals of history, cradled by the depths of our common humanity. And as we journey through the echoes of Atlantis, we are reminded of the delicate balance that teeters between construction and destruction, a truth that resonates even into our own age, a truth that continues to navigate the intricate labyrinth of our lives. As the landscape of Atlantis pulsated with the rhythm of daily life, a vibrant ensemble of ambition, interconnectedness, and burgeoning hierarchies, insidious forces began to awaken from their long slumber. The allure of progress, born on the wings of industry and technology, unfurled before the denizens of this extraordinary civilization. Yet with the sweet nectar of innovation came shadows tangled with dissatisfaction, whispers of discontent that echoed through the avenues lined with marble and gold. The very structures intended to uplift human potential began to sow the seeds of ancient rivalries anew. Imagine for a moment the halls of power where the ancient leaders convened, cloaked in the prestige of their authority yet shadowed by the specter of their growing ambitions. Nobility, their status built upon the backs of laborers, faced a profound moral conundrum. The insatiable need for resources to sustain their lifestyles inevitably collided with the well-being of those toiling in the fields. Here, within the grand assemblies, eloquent speeches laced with promises of expansion and prosperity resonated through the gilded halls, yet hidden behind the nobility's charisma lay the unacknowledged toll upon the very populace they swore to protect. Each decision sparked a transformative inner conflict, a conflict reflective of the very essence of human ambition, poised precariously between dreams of greatness and spirals into moral decay. As economic pressures tightened their grip, the intricate tapestry of daily life began to strain. Ambition became tethered not only to growth but to the compulsion to dominate through warfare. The leaders, once visionaries of peace and prosperity, awakened to the allure of conquest as a means to secure their legacies. Around the tables of plotting strategists, bronze swords were unsheathed as proposals for military expansions filled the air with thick tension. One could almost hear the drumbeats of war reverberating across the landscape, a rhythm that resonated with the frustrations bubbling beneath the surface, where the promise of Atlantis began to shimmer with the dark undertones of conflict. On the fringes of this grandiose civilization, the edges of discontent blurred into violent aspirations, disenfranchised citizens stirred, hearts ignited by the pain of inequality and the stark reality of their labor financing opulence far beyond their reach. The remarkable advancements in weaponry and military logistics, born from the very hands of the artisans of Atlantis, gave rise to factions driven not merely by survival, but by the fierce desire for autonomy. Powerful aspirations to claim a voice amidst the cacophony of wealth and privilege ignited sparks of rebellion. What was once an organized society, brilliant in its conception, began to tremble as the reality of its fragility came into sharper focus. Feel the mounting pulse of ambition and conflict as we step further into these turbulent times. With each passing day, the nobility, intoxicated by the grandeur that the spoils of war could bring, felt the mounting pressure not only from external enemies circling like vultures but from within their very own walls. The insatiable hunger for dominion grew such that relationships frayed between allies, brother turned against brother, causing an unraveling of the very fabric that had sewn their fate together. Here the notion of loyalty became an illusion, buoyed by fear rather than trust, as leaders eyed each other warily, ever mindful of the precariousness that accompanied the pursuit of power. As the Atlantean navy set sail toward foreign shores in quest for resources to quench their expanding appetite, the seas themselves stirred with murmurs of change. Explorations brought back tales of distant lands filled with riches, yet these discoveries became a double-edged sword, illuminating both pathways and perils. Subtle ideological shifts rolled through the heart of Atlantis as newfound knowledge began spilling into the consciousness of its people. Suddenly, the edifice of power began to tremble, not merely from external threats, but from a burgeoning philosophical inquiry brought forth by the very streets that pulsed with life. In this maelstrom of societal transformation, tensions escalated into skirmishes, both in the arenas of conquest across oceans and within the very walls of Atlantis itself. The echoes of dissent grew louder as voices clamored for reform, voices that demanded attention, suffused with resentment and yearning for a reimagined societal paradigm. Picture scenes of assemblies where citizens rallied in the hope of change, igniting passionate debates drenched in the nobility's bloodied history. Monuments to glory morphed into mirrors reflecting an undeniable truth. The very society that claimed to embody harmony was tainted by the lust for power and the desire for control. As the tumult swelled, like a storm gathering above the city's shining towers, whispers of a cataclysmic reckoning began to reverberate throughout their midst, a force more potent than any sword or spear. The gods themselves, both feared and revered, began to loom larger in the collective psyche of the people. The Atlanteans held sacred their connection to the divine, yet what was once an offering of gratitude for prosperity morphed into desperate pleas for mercy, begging the heavens for understanding, as the realities of ego-driven ambition became all too apparent. It was then that storm clouds hung heavy above, thundering, signaling immutable change. As the cosmic scales edged ever closer to imbalance, the exquisite beauty and craftsmanship of Atlantis began to suffer cracks. Nature herself stirred, responding to the turmoil below. The very waters that had once cradled their civilization, transporting them across trade routes, now trembled in anticipation of what was to come. The volcanic fury simmering far below the surface, its powerful heartbeat remained hidden but alive, foreshadowing a reckoning that was not only to come but had already begun reverberating through the heart of Atlantis. Suddenly, the vibrant symbolism of their success transformed into the narrative of impending collapse. As the inscriptions of past glory now faded into whispers amongst the populace, we witnessed the unthinkable. The burgeoning ambition that once fueled their rise was tribalized into factions, now vying to claim both the spoils and the glory of the realm they once collectively inhabited. Grappling for control over resources and power, every moment scratched the surface of societal cohesion, sending it spiraling further toward irreparable damage. A deep fissure opened between social classes. The elite bolstered their defenses while the common folk plunged deeper into despair, a chasm growing wider with each insatiable demand for labor. The cycle repeating upon itself, much like the ebb and flow of the tides that provided their sustenance, yet now wrought with tragic irony. The same waters that had once brought forth prosperity had grown treacherous. Unseen forces propelled these disenchanted factions toward one singular conclusion: change was imminent, and the fallout would leave a trail of devastation in its wake. As we delve further into this narrative of transformation, feel the weight of history resonate as we approach a moment where the ceiling of ambition caves in, revealing the immense disparity lurking beneath the surface. The bright luminescence of Atlantis is dimmed by shadows that had long been ignored. The whispers of discontent drown in the chorus of bravado. The storm is brewing, socio-political systems tremble on the brink of collapse, echoing the heartbeats of a civilization that, in its grand pursuit of greatness, forgot the elemental truth that lies beneath humanity's fragility amidst waves of ambition. The reflections of soaring peaks now serve as reminders of the abyss looming below, capturing not just the grandeur but the harrowing potential awaiting to unravel the tapestry of existence. The dark truth of Atlantis, one beneath a veil of beauty, spills ever closer, and with it the echoes of consequence reverberate, weaving a narrative of inevitable transformation. As the tempest of ambition swirled about, the air itself thickened with unfulfilled dreams and the broken promises of a society on the verge of rupture. In the intricate mosaic of Atlantean life, one could sense the trembling anticipation of a people tangled in their yearning for greatness, a yearning that had blossomed into an insatiable hunger for dominion. At this juncture we must pause, observing how the once unified force of progress now petrified into a fragmented mass of competing ideals and aspirations. For in this twilight between glory and despair, reality took a haunting shape, revealing itself in the mirage of power. Consider now the architecture that defined the skyline of Atlantis, those towering structures of marble and alabaster that rose to kiss the sky. They stood not just as monuments to human achievement, but as poignant symbols of fragility, embodying the precarious dance of triumph and vulnerability. As their shadows lengthened, cast over the bustling streets where merchants peddled their wares, signs of social disintegration began to emerge. The cracks widened as isolating empathy plagued the hearts of those once bound by prosperity. Amidst this grandeur, the unease spread further, and instead of celebration, the air was steeped in suppressed apprehension, the fears of the common man rising as his elder sought refuge in the embraces of power, lost in a labyrinth of moral conflicts. At the center of it all, the political landscape shook under the weight of competing ideologies. Divisions burgeoned, fracturing the once solid foundation of the Atlantean governance. Hooded figures convened in murky chambers, tension winding tighter as the ruling elite grappled with the perspectives of dissidents. Loyalty became a mutable currency, and allegiances shifted like sand, each faction adeptly maneuvering within the web of power, strategizing their ascent, sculpting the destiny of a civilization teetering on the precipice of civil upheaval. Imbued with an acute awareness of their precarious situation, the populace began questioning the tapestry of beliefs that had once buoyed their existence. Whispers of disillusionment floated through the streets like autumn leaves carried by a chilling wind. What had rattled the psyche of the Atlantean identity was not merely the stark realities of hunger, it was the sense of betrayal sewn into the fabric of their lives, lofty promises of prosperity tearing at the seams. The mythos of a great society designed to uplift and unify was being suffocated in its arrogance. In the quest for greatness lay buried a quieter truth, one of connection and companionship rapidly eroding under the strain of competing loyalties. As the strife within Atlantis exchanged words for daggers, the war drums echoed ominously at its borders. The external realms grew ominous shadows cast over their civilization, threatening to engulf them in conflict sparked not merely by resources, but by the seeds sown from their own hubris. Neighboring tribes, witnessing the growing antagonisms within, contoured their strategies like predators biding their time amid the feuding prey. With each skirmish, the ambition to dominate gave birth to an array of responses, brittle yet fierce, summoning the shadows of old rivalries even among erstwhile allies. Now we must remember the land itself, the rock and clay from whence their civilization had risen, a landscape heavy with the legacy of centuries of toil. The lush fields and fertile plains once flourished, feeding not only the aspirations of the dreamers but allowing dreams to take root and flourish. However, now as their communities became ensnared in cycles of conflict, the very earth beneath their feet began to rebel. Dry spells wrought havoc on agriculture, intensifying the struggles faced by ordinary citizens who not only battled for their survival but for dignity. Hearts strained against the encroaching despair that loomed like shadows over their heads. Markets once befitting a bustling hub rich with hope turned instead into a theater for desperation, as disillusioned citizens gathered in search of solace, of connection, of understanding. They clung to their memories of an idealized Atlantis, one that transcended the manipulations of political and social decay, and yet with every passing day, those snippets of vibrant recollection seemed to slip further from their grasp. In collective gatherings, voices that once harmonized floated through the air in lamentation, a symphony of sorrow, punctuated by the haunting echoes of shattered dreams. They spoke of richness while their hands wore the calluses of toil, of prosperity while staring at bare tables void of promise, of the greatness of their civilization now overshadowed by its unraveling threads. And so, as this burgeoning discord fueled increasing tensions, whispers of divine intervention grew, drifting like mist settling upon the shores of Atlantis. The common folk looked to the skies for answers, pleading for salvation, yet what they summoned was a far deeper reckoning. As unrest pockmarked the ever-mighty kingdom, ancient legends wove themselves into conversations, fear flaring as they recounted tales of giants that once roamed the land, their might reducing civilizations to ashes, a haunting portrayal of the consequences of hubris personified, lingering like an unwelcome spectre. It was at this poignant moment within the fabric of time that the spectre of nature stirred profoundly, clawing at the back of the Atlanteans' minds as whispers gave way to palpable dread. As the divine became a source of both hope and despair, catastrophic murmurs began to manifest. The earth trembled beneath their feet, a stark reminder of the delicate balance uniting humanity with the forces of nature, now disrupted by their reckless ambition. Torrential rains battered the coastline, the waves that once embraced their architecture now cunningly reclaiming the shores. The volcano, that sleeping giant of beautiful terror, rumbled distant echoes, resonating with the primal dance of destruction that loomed ahead. The labyrinth of Atlantis found itself amid tumultuous tides, an inextricable link binding society's ambitions to the earth that cradled it. Fostered on aspirations without due awareness emerged an understanding. Aspirations rooted in a deep connection to existence can flourish, but ambitions that sever the delicate thread of unity blind their seekers to the inevitable reckoning. The cosmic forces began to align, casting their ominous shadows upon the horizon. Moral reckoning intertwined with nature's relentless pursuit ushered forth a moment that would carve its name into the annals of time. Picture the clash now, the sky darkening to an ashen hue as the twinkling lights of Atlantis began to glimmer uncertainly against the occluded backdrop, a vision of an empire once incandescent in energy dimming under the weight of its misgivings. The people gathered then, not merely in fear but in silent yearning, for a return to understanding, to connection. Winds howled and the waves crashed, echoing the heartbeats of a civilization clinging to life, caught in the intricate web of fate woven from dreams, ambitions, and the haunting truth that birthed them. As nightmarish visions filtered through the hearts of a population yearning for liberation from the grip of the past, we stand on the precipice, a threshold between yesterday's splendor and tomorrow's uncertainties. The threads of memory begin to unravel, strong yet frayed against the relentless assault of time, a tapestry woven from ambition now tinged with the sorrow of lost potential. And so we ask, what lessons lie embedded within the ruins of this once great civilization? What truths of ambition, power, and fragility will our reflection reveal? As history draws its breath, reality intertwines with artful storytelling, the stage is set. And as we approach the conclusion, let us delve deeper into the legacy of Atlantis, a legacy that whispers throughout the ages and echoes into the souls of those who reside beyond the boundaries of time. For even amid the shadows cast by pillars of stone and memory, one can find the enduring remnants of humanity, where ambition becomes both a beacon and a burden, urging us to confront the flickering light within, shedding wisdom on the eternal dance of civilization's rise and inevitable fall. As the tumultuous tides of history rolled back, consuming the remnants of Atlantis in their embrace, we pause to consider how this civilization, once the shining beacon of ambition and promise, metamorphosed into a mere whisper upon the lips of those who followed. The echoes of that vibrant society reverberate, faint yet undeniably present, in the fibers of human experience, reminding us that the legacy of Atlantis is not simply a tale of grandeur and collapse, but a poignant reminder of the tempest of human nature, the quest for success shadowed by precariousness. Time, with its gentle yet relentless passage, strips away the layers of myth from the bones of history, revealing not just the grandeur but the human frailties that lie beneath. No longer bathed in the light of their former glory, the ruins of Atlantis stand solemnly as emblems of human ambition gone astray, silent witnesses whispering lessons of humility to those who wander among them. In the absence of their once bustling marketplaces and grand palaces, the stark desolation is palpable, yet within that silence emerges an opportunity for reflection. What wisdom lies embedded in the very stones, and what truths do the winds carry from the hollows of the past? As the landscape transforms, its contours altered by the swallowing waves, the stories of those who called Atlantis home fade, each life extinguished, a ripple lost in an ocean of time. The common folk, once vibrant with dreams, aspirations, and the innate drive to forge connections, now reduced to shadows of memory, beckon us to confront our relationship with history. In their gaze, one can sense the question lingering quietly: what remains of human connection when we tread the very path that led to our undoing? Through the generations that followed, the myth of Atlantis morphed, transcending the barriers of culture and providing fertile ground for the imagination. In literature and philosophy, this lost city became a canvas upon which humans painted their fears and hopes, an allegory that resonates still today. Perhaps more than merely a cautionary tale of excess, it serves as a mirror reflecting our deepest anxieties about progress unfettered by a commitment to unity, connection, and the nurturing of our moral compasses. The ideals of Atlantis endured, reshaped by the creative minds of those who sought to interpret its essence, a continuum of thought shimmering through the pages of history. Yet even as we chase the flickering spectre of Atlantis, one must grapple with the realization that the truths of our ancestral past are not neatly filed away. They linger, woven into the fabric of our present. The principles that inspired this civilization, the pursuit of greatness, the hunger for progress, remain alive within us, urging a path that may lead to the same fateful horizon. In what way do our appetites shape our institutions, and how do the echoes of longing for an idyllic society seep into our modern narrative? As contemporary society pulses with ambition, it may well be worth considering the intricate tapestries of connection that bind us, how our personal gladiators of power and wealth mirror the fragility of what we once sought to achieve. And perhaps here lies the revelation. Amidst the ruins of grandeur, we find a more subtle truth about the resilience of human essence, which transcends mere aspiration. The whispered legacies of individual lives coalesce into a larger narrative, one that harmonizes with the silence of the land. The barren fields once teeming with crops and laughter now await renewal, lending voice to the potential for hope and rebirth. Can the lessons of Atlantis be repurposed, not as a relic of despair, but as a beacon guiding us through the mists of uncertainty, bringing forth a new understanding of our existence, a pursuit not of dominance but of interconnectedness? In this quiet reflection, we meander through the corridors of history, seeking not to deride the ambition that propelled Atlantis to its heights, but to embrace the tempered wisdom that accompanies such journeys. Each generation stands upon the shoulders of its predecessors, inheriting not just the soaring achievements but the weight of their unspoken truths, the vulnerabilities that intertwine with the aspirations that drove them forward. With this contemplative gaze cast backward, we notice how memory often transforms into myth, coloring our understanding of what transpired. Histories ebb and flow like tides, reshaping cultural identities and societal values, yet the fragments of humanity persist, shimmering through time, remnants of shared laughter and persistent yearning. We may find ourselves as the custodians of these echoes, grappling with our past as we shape our moral landscape moving forward, mindful of the legacies we choose to inherit and pass on. Within the sobering stillness, we celebrate the enduring of traditions that speak of shared humanity, the stories of our ancestors pulsing softly beneath the currents of history. It is within these narratives, remnants of joy, sorrow, and connection, that we find the threads guiding us toward a more conscientious destiny, bolstered by compassion rather than ambition alone. As the sun sets upon the historical shoreline of Atlantis, we find ourselves drawn to its quiet grace, honoring a legacy crafted not only from aspirations but from the collective fabric of existence, stories that stand as testament to the complexities of living. In this quiet tableau, we are not left with simple conclusions but with flickering questions. How do we resist the unrelenting pull of hubris? How do we nurture our connections so that they bloom rather than wither? Within these spaces, nestled between memory and the evanescent present, the spirit of Atlantis weaves on, whispering to us the profundity of lives once lived and the delicate tapestry we continue to forge. And as we journey back through the waters of time, reflective, contemplative, the echoes of Atlantis linger like a gentle breeze brushing against our skin. They invite our hearts to contemplate the richness of human experience, echoing softly the shared truths that have long tethered us to one another. In that quiet embrace, we recognize that while the people may be gone, their world still echoes quietly in ours, a reminder that the dance of ambition and fragility persists, woven into the very essence of what it means to be human. Let us walk forth then, cradling these memories, nurturing the fragments of our shared legacy, and forever attending to the silent lessons whispered from the ruins of a great civilization, a commitment to keep their stories alive amid the shroud of time. And as we leave the remnants of Atlantis behind, may we tread with humility upon the earth, carrying forth the light of what we've learned, cherished, and pass on like the quiet lapping of waves upon the shore, deep, abiding, and timeless.